Kia ora, nai mai, haere mai, and welcome everyone to today's Vax Pop. My name is Tracy Jennings, and I'm the Director of Program and Insights for the Circle. I would like to acknowledge the original custodians of Australia and pay our respects to the elders, past, present, and future, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture, and hopes of Indigenous Australia. Over the next few weeks, the Circle will be featuring our top Australian and New Zealand business leaders supporting the vaccine rollout in our Vax Pop series, Let's Get the Jab Done. In our Vax Pop today, we are honoured to hear from Jayne Hrdlicka, CEO and Managing Director of Virgin Australia. Thank you for joining us, Jayne.
Pleasure.
A reminder that we are on the record today. We welcome the media, and we will share the recording to our YouTube channel following the event. You can share your thoughts with our hashtag VaxPop. I will now pass over to our Managing Director, Johnny Weiss, to get us started today. We hope you enjoy.
Thank you, Tracy, and Jayne, welcome back to the Circle. We're so much looking forward to your presentation today. The objective of our series is to provide advice and insights for others to follow this most important national initiative, the rollout of the vaccine. Thank you so much for participating, and let's try and get through as many questions as possible. You've taken a very strong leadership position in this vital area. Can you share with us some of the considerations that you took into account in identifying and planning your strategy for the vaccine rollout with your staff? Thank you so much.
Sure, and thanks, Jenny, and welcome everyone. The most important thing for us, as we've contemplated our role in COVID-19 and our response as a community, is to ensure that in everything we do, we're working hard to play our role in keeping the community safe and in helping Australians get back to our way of life. And at the center of this at the beginning, it was managing lockdowns and ensuring that as a company, we could provide as much support as possible to people trying to get between point A and point B. If you're in Melbourne trying to get to Sydney, and if lockdowns were starting, to try to get more capacity to get people out. So we've had to learn how to be really responsive to help Australians move around during lockdown. The challenge in front of us now, of course, is trying to get away from lockdowns and move into a new way of living and learning how to live with COVID. And that requires vaccination in order to protect the community. And so for us, it's a really important role to play in ensuring that we are all vaccinated and that we help as many people as possible in the community to see the benefits and to play their role in keeping everybody safe.
Thank you very much. And you had a very careful strategy, very careful implementation strategy with your team. Can you share with us the strategy that you followed, particularly to engage with your staff, to find out what they were thinking, to learn of their concerns, and share with us so that others could learn a great way of going about this? Thank you so much.
Sure. So when we started this journey with our team, we really wanted to understand how everybody was feeling about the current situation with lockdowns, how everybody was feeling about vaccination. And we ran 3 different surveys, same survey, 3 different times over a stretch of I don't know, 2.5, 3 months to get a sense of people's attitudes. And after we did the 3rd one, we could see 85% of our people hungry to be vaccinated, either first jab already or second jab already, or they'd booked for the first. And about 3% who just really didn't want to be vaccinated under any circumstances, didn't matter what anybody said philosophically, they had opposition to it. And the remainder were hesitant. And it was a pretty big group to be hesitant in our book. And so we embarked on a program to educate. The response from the people who were hesitant was that they'd had a lot of information that made them worried about getting vaccinated. And, were these experimental vaccines, and I'm pregnant and I don't want to be doing anything that would hurt my baby, or I want to become pregnant and don't want to create an issue for future opportunities to become pregnant and have a child. And long list of things that people were worried about. And so we have gone on a mission to educate our people through, we've got a workplace that is basically Facebook for work. And we brought experts in. We brought in obstetricians. We brought in respiratory specialists. We brought Nick Coatsworth and I did a Q&A interview today. So we've had about 6 people come on and talk about how they think about the vaccines and how they think about the risks, and talk about each one of them individually. And it's been very, very helpful. And honestly, today, after the session with Nick Coatsworth, if anybody still has reservations, that that is not philosophically opposed, I'll be surprised, because he did such a brilliant job in spelling out the issues associated with becoming infected with COVID-19. He helped us understand how the vaccine works in practice, helped us understand what that means for various different parts of the community, helped our 20 and 30 something employees understand why it's really important for them to be vaccinated too, and talked us through the different variants and what's happening with the variants and what we should expect in the future. And, you know, at the end of all that, our job is to try to help our people have the very best information possible to make an informed choice. And they will have an informed choice, but our workplace is a workplace that we have decided must be a vaccinated workplace. We've concluded that the only way to keep our people safe every day at work is to have them vaccinated, whether they're in a head office role or they're working on the front line or someplace in between. And so as of yesterday, we've published our final policy. We spent 2 weeks in consultation with our people and with our unions to get their feedback. We had a draft policy that we put to them. We made a bunch of adjustments to our policy to reflect some of the underlying concerns that people have. Most notably, we added a couple of days of leave. If people had burned down their personal leave already, we gave them the ability to go and take an extra couple of days in the event that they had side effects from the side effects from the vaccination. We gave people a stipend of up to $100 to go see their GP. And there were a few other things in clarifying processes and so on. But we're just trying to find a way to make it possible for everybody to have good information to make an informed choice, and then to take on board people's feedback, knowing that we're going into an environment where we will require vaccination, and then to produce a policy that's the best reflection of their feedback. And we're ready to now start the implementation process. Yesterday, we announced the policy and we gave everybody the opportunity to now start to inform us on their position. The clicks through to the link were unbelievable. Like, we had over 1,000 responses in a very short period of time, and they're overwhelmingly, people saying, I'm vaccinated and here's what I'll do to provide the certification. And only a couple of people wanting to wait because they're still uncertain due to pregnancy. And so overwhelmingly, the majority of our people, I think, will elect to stay, and they'll elect to be in a world that is a vaccinated world. For those people who just can't be vaccinated, we'll work through individually their issues. If it's a medical issue, we'll work through that, and we'll try to find them a role that is possible to be done exclusively from home. If it's a philosophical issue, we'll do what we can on that count too, but there'll be limited opportunities to be unvaccinated in our workplace. So we'll have to be very careful in how we navigate through this process.
Thank you very much.
Feedback from our people has been fantastic, because they feel like it's been a very considered process that's engaged them and brought them along on the journey. And we've listened carefully to all the feedback and different views.
That's wonderful. And we're so thrilled to have you so early in our series, because, for this to be a case study for others to follow later is terrific for all of us. A tough new area for employers, untrodden territory, new turf. So there are a lot of legal and ethical issues that you've had to face along the way, almost without any guidelines. So perhaps could you share some of those with us and how you've grappled with this to find a solution?
Sure. Well, look, as we work our way through our priorities as a business, and as we got closer to understanding what the federal framework will look like and what National Cabinet was laying down as a policy and process for us to follow as a country in moving to a world where we don't have to be locked off from each other state by state, and in entering a world where we can be open with borders internationally, it became really clear that we needed to hit a vaccination rate of 80% as a community. And the Delta variant and its incredibly contagious path through the US and the UK was also very instructive to us, because it showed us that the virus is going to continue to mutate, and it's going to become more difficult to evade. And it's starting to be less discriminating with respect to age. And all of that data coming in from around the world led us to a position which was pretty clear and legally pretty sound, which is our number one job every day is to keep our people safe. It's the only thing that matters. We don't have a business if we can't keep our people safe, and we shouldn't have a business if we can't keep our people safe. Delta's proven that it is impacting adults of all ages. Kids are getting it too, but with less serious consequences. And so we felt we had no choice but to ensure that our people were safe from what's coming around the corner. Because what's coming around the corner is COVID in the community, and we have to be prepared to manage our people through that and to keep them safe. And we did a huge amount of work with our lawyers to make sure that we were on solid ground and that we understood what our obligations were to keep our people safe, and we understood what our obligations were to manage within all the other frameworks that exist from a fair work standpoint. And what popped out through all of that work was our number one obligation that we can't ever walk past is to keep our people safe. So that anchored us in every other decision that we made. And we're very, very interested to see what happens through National Cabinet today and over the course of the next several weeks as we get more vaccinated as a country. What will the position be with respect to the vaccinated relative to the unvaccinated? And we would expect a federal framework that identifies high density environments. And as we transition to a world with open borders, we would expect the framework to say that high density environments like stadiums, like aircraft, like airports, maybe even restaurants, that you need to be vaccinated to be in those environments while we transition to a more balanced world where borders are open and we've learned how to digest the virus and we're feeling confident that we can manage it, because that prevents those environments being super spreader environments. And we know our people are going to be safe under every scenario because there is a lot that's yet to be known. And really at the heart of it was we need to keep our people safe and we need to anticipate a world of possibilities ahead of us, which we can't yet predict because it takes time to get your workforce vaccinated. And the other thing, Johnny, that we thought about was, gee, if we need to hit 80% vaccination rates as a community in order to keep everybody safe and to keep our hospital systems robust, we need to do a really important job in ensuring that we're all vaccinated and we start to ensure that the community is better protected as a consequence of us playing our role. And we'd really encourage all employers to think about, one, how they keep their people safe, and two, how they contribute to ensuring that as a society we can get back to a way of life which we've all grown up with and we've learned to depend on.
You've mentioned about National Cabinet and the role of government, and you've just talked about community, of course. Do you think we're at a unique moment in our history that there's a sense of national purpose, a unity between government, business, health sector, almost like our moonshot? Do you feel the mood is there at this precise moment?
I do, I really do. All the conversations I have with government, all the conversations I have with colleagues across industries and colleagues within my industry, I think we all feel a really shared goal and common purpose with respect to protecting the community and enabling Australia to get back to our way of life and reconnecting family, enabling people to celebrate big events, enabling people to support each other across state lines when illness strikes. There are so many facets of what we've taken for granted as a community that we just need to get back to. It's unreasonable for us to behave this way going forward. It's an ongoing issue from the standpoint of mental health concerns. And so I think the only way to fix this is for all of us to work together and act as one and not finger point and not say, you should have done this, you should have done that. I mean, strike the politics and let's just focus on making sure we keep the community safe and we get people back to loving life.
Terrific. And our very important key stakeholder group, of course, are your customers and those who fly with you. And you've just launched a fabulous program, VAX, which we congratulate you, really smart. We had invitation out for TAB Corp, and they changed their symbol to JAB instead of TAB. So VAX, share with us this wonderful program and how you're using that to motivate clients and customers to get vaccinated.
We just want to say thank you, Johnny, to everybody who steps up and rolls up their sleeve and gets a jab. We just want to say thank you and enable everybody to participate in some fun and a little optimism with respect to the future. And so the launch of Vaccin was an opportunity for us to give back and put a little bit of fun and spirit in the process for all Australians. It's really easy to apply for the process. You don't have to submit any details with respect to vaccination until the other side and you've won. If you've won, then you have to prove that you're a worthy winner. And, you know, straight away, within 24 hours, we had over 100,000 applications, and we have had a continuing stream of volume from there. And we're really looking forward to see who's going to become the Velocity Points millionaire, and all the fun that will come with that once the borders are open.
Wonderful. Our final question, because we like to stick to time, we like to take off and land at the same time. Share with us the experience for a Virgin Australian traveller from, let's say, late November, December. What will be our experience? Take us on the journey.
Well, I'll imagine what it might look like, but there's a lot of the journey that's outside my control. So what I would expect will happen in November and December is that we'll have a streamlined process through the airport, and there will need to be verification of vaccination. That's my expectation. It's not been mandated yet by government, but I would expect that there will be some constraints with respect to first movements as borders come down. And we'll make everything inside the airport super simple and easy. The airports are well maintained. They're cleaned multiple times a day. Our aircraft are cleaned multiple times a day. We've got great filtration systems on board the aircraft. Everybody's wearing a mask inside the airport and on board the aircraft, and I don't expect that will change for some time. And our lounges will be open, and you can probably see my backdrop for those of you who are club members. The club lounges will be opening once the borders start to come down, and you know, our lounges are going to be open for business, full of great food and a lot of fun. And we will be working really hard to ensure that we've got enough people trained up and ready to fly to support the demand that we think will be very, very significant as we all start to bust out of our houses and go on life adventures and see family and friends that we've deeply missed.
Wow. Okay. Can't ready to join. Can't be too slow to join you in that. And Jayne, thank you so much. It's been a momentous year for Virgin Australia, momentous last year and a half. Dramatic, and we congratulate you for taking us on the journey so far and the journey to come, and giving us your precious time. Over to Tracy to close. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Johnny and Jayne. Such a great Vax Pop. I can't believe we're out of time already. That was very quick. Your program to educate is inspiring, Jayne, and your mandate to change just one person's mindset about vaccination is really commendable. I also want to thank everyone at home for joining us. We're so proud to deliver insights from our top CEOs surrounding the discussion on a vaccinated future, and we're excited about it. On behalf of the Circle and our guests, thank you, Jayne, for your contribution to this conversation today. We have many more profiles to come in the series. It's a busy week next week for our Vax Pops. We have Rob Giles from SPC on Monday. We have Anne Sherry from UNICEF Australia on Wednesday, and we have Susan Lloyd-Hurwitz from Mervac on Thursday. So please remain engaged. Our webinars are streamed live and they're published for later viewing on our social channels. So please check them out. For now, though, I'll hand back to you, Jayne, for a bit of a final word to everyone out there today and a closing comment. But thank you for today.
Thanks, Tracy. You're very kind. And look, my final thought would be, you know, we'll get through this together as a community, and we've got an obligation to protect the most vulnerable. And I would just encourage everybody to ensure that the people around you are vaccinated and well protected, and that we're all working together to ensure that that snowball continues down the hill, and that we surprise the rest of the world by being the most vaccinated country in the world. We didn't have to go through all the pain that the US had to go through. We didn't have to go through the pain that UK went through. Let's hurry and get ourselves vaccinated so that we're in the 90s with respect to vaccination penetration, and we're showing the world how it's done.
If that's not positive for Friday, I don't know what it is. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, Jayne.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.